Brennaman, and it's my pleasure once again to be working with Len Matuszek. And Lenny, the Reds coming in on a 2-game losing streak.
Yeah, and they need to turn things around in a big hurry coming into this big series against the Giants, Tom. And it's going to be a little bit nippy out there tonight. Conditions aren't all the greatest, but it's typical Candlestick Park weather.
Well, with that in mind, let's take a look at our insights brought to you tonight by Lens Crafters. And hey, you got to play with the conditions out there. Number one, bundle up.
The wind is going to definitely play a factor tonight. It's probably blustering out there around 35 or 40 miles an hour. So all fly balls will be an adventure. Don't take your eye off of it if you're an infielder or an outfielder on a pop fly.
Number two, you got to read Rick Russell and try and get to him earlier. I would assume he's been dynamite this year.
Well, I don't know exactly how to read him because National League hitters have had a hard time so far. This is going to be a tough test for the Reds batters, having to face Bruce Hurst and Rick Russell back-to-back. You've got to string some base hits together against Russell because he won't give up the long ball and he doesn't walk very many.
And finally, pick up the intensity. The Reds have not played with it the last 2 days. That is for certain.
This is a critical time in the road trip, Tom, where the intensity level has to be brought up a little bit because with this big series against the Giants and then moving into Atlanta, they've got to start playing some winning baseball.
Game one of a big as the night goes on, and Lenny is standing by with tonight's starting lineups.
Well, here's how the Reds will line up tonight against Rick Big Daddy Russell. Chris Sabo leads off at third base. Todd Benzinger hits second. He'll be at first base. Barry Larkin widening that lead in the National League batting race now to 20 points. Hits third. He'll be at shortstop. Paul O'Neill hitting cleanup tonight in the absence of Eric Davis. He's out in right field. Ken Griffey hits fifth. He's in left. Rolando Rooms, a big game yesterday against the Padres, both offensively and defensively. He'll bat sixth and play center field. Jeff Reed behind the plate, batting seventh. Lenny Harris at second base, having a fine series against the Padres. He hits eighth, and Rick Mailer will bat ninth, and he'll be on the mound tonight. So let's take a look at the Giants defensively. Out in left field, Kevin Mitchell, Brett Butler in center, Candy Maldonado in right. Around the infield, left to right, we have Ernest Riles at third base, Jose Uribe at short. Right side of the infield, Robbie Thompson and Will Clark, and that's a good one. This entire Giants infield is a good one. Terry Kennedy behind the plate, and there's a Rick Russell on the mound tonight. He's won 8 straight games. Overall, he's 11-2 with a fine 2.17 ERA. This is going to be his 16th start of the year. He's already thrown over 100 innings. Only given up 25 earned runs, 28 walks on the year. He's an excellent control pitcher, doesn't walk very many, doesn't strike out many either, 61 strikeouts. But one of the big stats is that you have trouble hitting the long ball off of him. Only 6 home runs on this season. This is Russell's third start against the Reds. He's already 2-0. He's been outstanding. And Tom, it's going to be tough tonight for the Reds after having faced Hurst and now playing against Rick Russell.
Well, we'll hope the Reds bats wake up a bit from yesterday afternoon. It'll be Chris Sabo, followed by Todd Benzinger, and then Barry Larkin. Sabo stepping in there at .256 with 5 home runs, 23 knocked in. He has 17 doubles and 1 triple. After a very good ball game a couple of nights ago in San Diego, which saw him collect 3 base hits, Sabo wore the collar yesterday. A big fat 0 for 5, including 2 strikeouts against Hurst and then Greg Harris. Lenny talked a little bit about the fact that Rick Russell has been nothing shy of brilliant this season. And he's going to be facing a Reds batting order without Eric Davis in a very big series.
Let's hope that hamstring injury will take care of itself maybe here, and Eric can get some good warm weather tomorrow and on Sunday and get back in that lineup.
Set to go. Riles pulled in at third. First pitch to Sabo. Strike one on the outside corner. Play Sabo pretty much straight away. Riles again pulled in at third, and Sabo goes that way, but it's a foul ball, and he's quickly behind 0-2. Sabo has batted .378 in his last 11 games. So that average has gone from around the .210 mark. Actually much lower than that earlier in the season, but he started to swing a pretty good bat as of late. And that average creeping back up towards respectability. Got him looking.
Russell not wasting any time this evening. He's got such good control, Tom. We'll talk a little bit throughout the evening about why Russell wins and why he's a good pitcher. Control being one of them. In '87, only giving up 1.7 walks per 9 innings, led the National League. That's just one reason. We'll give you some more throughout the evening.
Here's Benzinger. And he looks at a pitch low, ball one, tied at 236. 6 home runs and 33 knocked in. He left Cincinnati at the beginning of this trip with only 3 home runs and then hit 3 in a row against Los Angeles and the first game of the San Diego series. 2 down. I want to remind you, this copyrighted telecast comes to you through the courtesy of Multimedia Broadcasting, authorized under television rights granted by the Cincinnati Reds, solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds is prohibited. The announcers on this telecast are employed by Multimedia Broadcasting with the approval of the Cincinnati Reds. Low and away to Larkin, ball 1. Still sits all alone atop the National League in batting average at 364. Should be a 1-2-3 inning. Riles to Clark, and that it is. Nothing across. Giants are coming up. We're scoreless in San Francisco.
Brett Butler leading off in center field. Robbie Thompson batting second. He plays second base. Will Clark hitting third. Plays first base. Kevin Mitchell, the cleanup hitter, playing left field. Ernest Riles bats fifth. At third base, Candy Maldonado in right field hits sixth. Terry Kennedy behind the plate batting seventh. Jose Uribe, shortstop, eighth. Rick Russell bat ninth. He's on the mound tonight. Here's how the Reds will look defensively. Ken Griffey, Rolando Rooms, and Paul O'Neill in the outfield. Chris Sabo, Barry Larkin, Monty Harris, and Todd Benzinger around the infield left to right. Jeff Reed behind the plate, and on the mound, Rick Mailer. 8-6, 3.24 ERA. He's making his 16th start. 2 complete game wins, though, real important in his last 3 starts, and he's won 7 of his last 10. He's the top winner on that Red staff. And Tom, we need another complete game or a big game from Rick tonight.
Butler jumps all over the first pitch to right field. That is over O'Neill's head. Butler on his way to second, and he will hold it up right there, jumping all over Mailer's first pitch for a leadoff double.
Brett Butler not wasting any time, and Rick Mailer all year long struggling a little bit in the first inning, and see that ball going over Paul's head, and a little funny bounces off of that chain link fence out there. It's not like some of the other walls.
Thompson laying it down, and it rolls foul ball. Well, you watch Butler on that play right there. He had come all the way around third and was almost at home before the ball.
I know that Mailer was under the impression that that ball was going to go foul, which it did, but very aggressive. That's Roger Craig's style. That's the way he's been ever since he took over the reins here in 1986.
Robbie Thompson having a wonderful season. 279, 7 home runs. Did not hit one in the first month of the season. So in May and this early part of June, he has collected 7 dingers, 19 RBIs. Health problems, notably back troubles, have kept Thompson from ever becoming the star that his considerable skills would suggest he would become. It cost him a chance already to play in his first All-Star game, but he appears healthy this season and has done very well. Wind swirls around here at Candlestick. 0-2 pitch with Butler at second. Harris trying to sneak in behind him. Mailer steps off the pitching rubber and will go back at it. And once again,
no, what it's going to be like at what point in the game.
Butler will move on to third. Larkin retires Thompson. So the Giants with a pretty good opportunity against Mailer here in the first inning.
Giants showing us winning baseball early here after the leadoff double. Thompson's sole purpose up there was to move the runner. He didn't do it with the bunt. He tried to go to the right side with his second swing, but still got it to the left of Barry Larkin at short to get Butler home. And now, who do we have up?
Maybe the most feared hitter in the National League next to Darryl Strawberry. Here's Will Clark. And that will get a run home. Will Clark retired. but Butler scored. Vintage Giants baseball. It's the way you got to do it. We didn't see the Reds execute on many opportunities yesterday when they had to move a runner over.
Nope, get him over, get him in. That's what that game was called, and Thompson did his job. Thompson should feel as responsible as Will Clark for getting that run home right there.
Kevin Mitchell. You don't think it's cold here in San Francisco? Inside 1-1. Mitchell 23 home runs. 62 RBIs. And he has been the most devastating offensive force in baseball this year. Straight back, he's behind 1 and 2. In his last 13 games alone, Mitchell has hit 8 of them. So Mailer trying to survive this first with only 1 across. 2 down, the Giants have 1 in. Right at Sabo, and that'll do it. But the Giants, they're expecting about 115,000 fans over this 3-game series, and certainly you would expect most of those will come on the Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon ball games. Not a huge crowd on hand tonight, but they will make some noise. O'Neill at 281, 9 home runs, has driven in 43. He and Eric Davis are tied atop the national, or rather the Reds board in that department. Good play by Thompson. Tell you what, he can pick it over there at second base.
Between Thompson and Uribe, could be the best double play combination in the game. Paul hit it hard, but Robbie really goes to his right very, very well. He makes that play behind the bag and going up the middle as well as any second baseman in the National League. And quick observation here is that you want to try to take Russell the other way. It's real important because he's not going to give in to you. Even when he's you're ahead of him 2-0, you've got to think go the other way.
Ken Griffey takes a strike. Griff getting a lot of playing time. He's at 282 and as a starter is well over 290 on the season. A little bit low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Fly ball left center field. Butler drifting that way and makes a catch. We were talking, Lenny, a little bit before the game. Any fly ball can turn into an adventure here at the Candlestick Park.
Tom, I can recall when I was playing with the Dodgers in 1986, I believe it was. Stepped up to pinch hit, hit a fly ball to deep left center that I could have swore was going to hit off the fence. I turned around first base, saw Candy Maldonado running as fast as he could, caught the ball about midway between the infield and the warning track, and I got nothing out of it.
That'll make you crazy, I tell you what. Maldonado in right field tonight. He's been moved over there since Mitchell has made the transition from third base to left. Rooms right at Riles. And it's another 1-2-3 inning for Big Daddy Russell. 1-0 San Francisco. We're in the middle of the second inning. The second inning. Lenny made a good point a little bit earlier about Rick Russell, or rather Rick Mailer's troubles historically have come in the first inning. He allowed 24 first inning runs a season ago in 34 starts with Atlanta. That was the second most in the National League. Hopefully that one the Giants got on the board in the first will be all. Riles at 292. And he has played a big part in the success of this San Francisco ball club this year.
Came over from the Milwaukee Brewers. Has done a great job.
Been a busy night for Larkin so far. 3 ground balls, 3 putouts, 1 away. That'll bring up right fielder Candy Maldonado. Mailer with those 5 complete games is tied in the league in that department in the National League. Giants were depending on Maldonado to hit heavily. Produce runs, home runs in the absence of Chili Davis a year ago. Why not? In '87, Maldonado clubbed 20 dingers and drove in 85 runs. As it turned out, he followed that banner season with only 12 home runs, and his batting average plummeted 75 points. This guy has not turned into the kind of player they hoped he would after coming over from Los Angeles.
Kind of teased them at first. Thom came over and had a couple of real good years, and they were looking for him to be that number 5 man to hit behind Kevin Mitchell, and it's turned out to be Ernest Riles.
2-0 pitch. Now it's 3-0. He is still only 28 years old, so there's plenty of time for him to get his act together. And he'll move on down to first base. Ball 4.
A lot more fastballs tonight because the breaking ball, he just has no idea with the wind what it will do. So he's trying to establish some sort of consistency here.
Drive to center field. Rooms drifting that way and makes the catch. Looked like he had a little bit of trouble judging that ball.
Well, this is going to be a big night for Rolando. His first time in Candlestick. Supposed to run circles around fly balls. This wasn't too bad, though. He looked okay there. You better follow it all the way into the glove, Rolando.
Rooms in center field again with the absence of Eric Davis. He said he hurt his hamstring not on that ball yesterday in center field when he was giving chase, when he came up limping a bit, but rather when he tried to steal a base and the pitch was fouled off. Jose Uribe, 231, has driven in 14. Maldonado stands at first with 2 gone. Larkin's way, and the flip on to Lenny Harris will do it. The Giants strand a runner, and after 2, time for the Reds bats to get in gear. 1-0 San Francisco. Well, we're finding Reds fans not to be as spread out here at Candlestick Park. A few more.
We're up to 2 now, and I think I saw one guy in the truck earlier today with a Reds hat, so we've got 3.
Big Daddy Rick Russell cruising right along. He's knocked down the first 6 Reds.
How about another reason why Rick Russell wins? We talked about at the top of the show. Doesn't give up a lot of home runs. Tommy's only given up 6 this year in 100 innings, 1 every 17 innings, so you're not going to beat him with the long ball too often. You've got to string some base hits together, because we talked also that he doesn't walk a whole lot. You know, this guy's unbelievable, though. I mean, he's just aging very gracefully.
That he is. 40 years old. And still getting it done big time out on the mound all over National League City. Steph Reed takes a strike from him. Cincinnati catching has seen better days. Defensively, Reed has done pretty well. Bo Diaz same way, but at the plate, it's been tough. 1-2. Reed will be followed by second baseman Lenny Harris, and then the pitcher spot, Rick Mahler. One thing that always seems to really strike me about Russell, it seems like so many players watch strikes.
And right there with Jeff, he has to know he's going to work him away from the plate. And he did the right thing right there. You've got to think about taking him the other way. And so what might normally not be a good pitch to hit at on your first strike, with Russell, it can be if you're looking for that particular pitch, because he's going to do what he has to do to win, and that's to throw the ball on the outer half of the plate to left-handers. He got that one in just a little bit. Jeff lined it in between third and short, but now's the time you've got to string together 2, 3, 4 hits against Russell.
Lenny Harris stepping in there, and he jumps on the first pitch, fouls it off in front of the plate. 0-1. Harris at 225 and showing signs of coming out of an early season slump. Stung the ball pretty well in San Diego, so much so. 0-1. Even up, 1 ball and 1 strike. Russell's last start, he pitched his longest outing of the year, came out in the 9th for a pinch hitter. He has not finished a ball game that he has started this year. But you said, Len, he's really not concerned about finishing games.
He really isn't. Read a quote from Rick in one of his last starts where, in fact, I think it was his last start. Craig Lefferts came in to get the final out. He was happy to give up the ball because he knew he wasn't as effective as he was early in the game, and he just wants to win. That's all Rick Russell's playing the game for right now, is to help this Giants team win.
Played a big part in it. The 2+ seasons he has been here in San Francisco. 2-1 to Harris. Ryle still creeping up a bit down at third. Reed takes his lead at first. Here comes a 2-1. Not too sure Lenny agreed with that call on the outside part of the plate. 2-2.
Get a center field view. From that angle, I'd say Lenny had a beef.
Two balls, 2 strikes. And Harris knocks it towards Thompson. That's trouble. Like money in the bank.
Uribe. These guys are fun to watch.
First pitch coming to Rick Mailer. Takes outside, ball 1. In case you missed the news, former Red Tracy Jones traded today from San Francisco to Detroit in exchange for Pat Sheridan. We'll get back to Russell's fielding in just a few moments, because he can do that well also. 1 base hit, but Butler, and then second baseman Robbie Thompson. Russell at 0.97. But of course, this guy's not paid to hit, he's paid to pitch, and he will help himself. He led the National League a season ago in laying down sacrifice bunts. He also leads in that category so far this season. This guy really knows how to win. First pitch coming for Mailer. 1 gone.
2-time Gold Glover, Tom. Last time he did it was in 1987. He just does so many things, like you said, to help him and his team win that, well, you're going to hear all through the night. You're probably going to see just why Rick Russell is an all-star, and he did make the all-star team last year.
Back we go to the top of the order, and the man who got it all going for Frisco in the first. Here's Brett Butler. Had a double, moved to third thanks to a Thompson ground ball, and scored on a Will Clark ground ball. 0-1. This guy may well be one of the most underrated players in all the game. He is everything Al Rosen expected, the Giants general manager, when he lavished all those multi-year riches on him 2 winters ago. Last season, arguably the best leadoff hitter in the National League. And he has his second base hit tonight. Butler's been bothered with injuries as of
85% going into tonight's game, but he didn't want to miss this series. Here you see it. Just drops it in front of Paul O'Neill. You know, Butler had been doing the same kind of things he did for the Giants last year in Cleveland. And I think where there's a lot of underrated players that play either in or that have played in Cleveland in the past. He's been a great leadoff man over the last 3 or 4 years.
And you don't need to ask, he can run. Mailer well aware of that.
Back in 1984, became the first player in Cleveland history to steal 50 bases and score 100 runs. Averaged 41 steals in his 4 years with the Indians.
And there he goes. They got the pitch out on. Reed, a good throw will have him. And he does.
Not that Jeff needs a pitch out in the situation, but he gets one, and he gets a good one. And in that situation, all he has to do is give Barry a good throw, and he's got Butler out easy. One of the big things about a pitch out that's really important to make it work is that the pitcher doesn't speed up his delivery home.
Harris making the call and makes the catch. We'll get back to that in a moment. 1-2-3 inning, or rather that or moving ball game, you could say, I guess. Same makings of yesterday's ball game.
This is exactly like yesterday's game. We're talking a lot about Rick Russell. Rick Mailer is doing an outstanding job. I know we talked about Bruce Hurst last night during the afternoon ball game, that is. But Thom Browning was matching him pitch for pitch, and that's what we've got going here today. The action is moving fast.
That it is. Well, we're going to the top of the order. Chris Sabo.
Wait a minute.
We're trying to get the situation straightened out here in our press box, and we'll do just that momentarily. Chris Sabo swings and misses, strike one. He'll be followed by Todd Benzinger and then Barry Larkin. Sabo struck out looking back in the first. There we go.
Now we won't blow away, at least.
2 balls and 1 strike. Again, Ernest Riles, like Sabo's first trip to the plate, up on the grass down at third base. Reds try anything to get something going against Russell. But Griffey told me before the ball game, you cannot bunt on this guy. 1 away. Says that Russell is so quick, although he wouldn't appear to be, that he'll knock you down just like that.
Don't let that body deceive you. Rick Russell can move around like a cat out there on the mound. Time to take a look at the National League scores. Orlando Rooms coming up here, but New York leading Philadelphia 8-5. That game in the bottom of the second. 8-5, 13 runs already. Montreal down the Cubs. 8-5. Winning pitcher Bryn Smith. Galarraga 3 hits and 2 RBIs. The Pirates over St. Louis in the bottom of the 7th, 2-1. And the Astros on top of the Padres. That game in the bottom of the 4th, 3-0. Cincinnati's Billy Doran hits home run number 6. And the Braves on top of the Dodgers. That game in the bottom of the 2nd, 1-0 from Dodger Stadium. We'll give you the American League rundown in the next half inning.
Benzinger 0 for 1. Hit a ground ball Robbie Thompson's way in the first inning. Pretty rough afternoon yesterday for Benzinger. 0 for 5, struck out 3 times against Bruce Hurst, followed by Greg Harris. And the Reds batting had improved dramatically in that series in Cincinnati and in the first 2 games in Los Angeles. Matter of fact, they led the National League in that department for about 4 or 5 days. They have since slipped to second. The Giants followed closely behind. The Cardinals at 255, the best hitting team in the National League. Swing and a miss.
Todd's struggles continue. Earlier you talked about the fact that he hit the 3 home runs in the 3 consecutive ball games, and there are times when that can be a negative thing, because all of a sudden you start to become home run conscious and you get away from what you're trying to do. And even though those home runs feel good and they may be a big hit at the particular time, down the road could put you in a little bit of a slump. And it appears that Todd not finding the stroke like he had out there in Dodger Stadium.
2 down in the inning for Barry Larkin. Hit a ground ball at Ernest Riles back in the first inning. With Larkin against the Giants this season, hitting .452. Been to the plate 31 times and collected 14 base hits. Drive to center field. Butler giving chase, going back towards a warning track, and makes the grab over his shoulder. Good Butler. Hitting center field. 1-2-3 inning again for Russell. Still 1-0 San Francisco.
Barry hits this ball about as well as you can hit it, but again, you never know how the wind's going to affect it. Butler never takes his eye off it. He knows right where he is. The warning track becomes real important here in Candlestick, because you cannot take your eye off it. You've really got to get a feel of that warning track out there in the outfield.
Here's Will Clark. Takes the first pitch from Mailer, a breaking ball, strike 1. Clark drove in the only run of the ball game. And Brett Butler at third, hit a ground ball to shortstop, and that was good enough to get the runner home. Oh, 0-2. This season no different than a year ago for Will Clark. sweet swinging left-hander all over the league leader sheets for the second straight year. But he goes down looking to Mailer on 3 called third strikes. You won't see him take 3
right now. Doubleheader in New York against the Rangers and the Yankees. The Yankees winning the first one 8-3. Andy Hawkins the winner. Second game, Yankees on top 3-1. That one in the bottom of the 6th. Rafael Palmeiro has a home run for the Rangers, his 6th. Doubleheader in Baltimore as well. The A's defeated the O's 7-5 in that first game. Storm Davis the winner. Mark McGuire, Ron Hasse home runs for the A's, and Billy Cal Ripken, that is, his 6th home run. Second game, Baltimore on top 5-1 in the bottom of the 8th. Cleveland shuts out Kansas City 1-0. Blue Jays over Seattle 4-3. Tom Henke the winner in relief. He's 5-3 now. Angels all over the Tigers in the bottom of the ninth, 9-4. Jack Howell his 5th home run. Chili Davis his 7th for the Angels. And the Twins on top of the Brewers in the bottom of the 7th, 6-5. Nothing shutout going on in Comiskey Park. Roger Clemens pitching for the Red Sox in that ball game. That's in the bottom of the 9th. Now you're up to date here on the American League scoreboard.
Kevin Mitchell draws a walk, and he is on base for the first time in this ball game. It's Mailer's second walk, and here is Ernest Riles. Riles a 6-3 ground out to lead off the second inning. And he takes a called strike. Mailer looks like he's starting to get his control down now after a rocky first inning that saw him fall behind to a couple of batters, but he looked pretty sharp at this particular point. 0-1. 1-1.
We didn't get a chance to see it because we were running down that American League scoreboard, but next time we can show you the shift that the Reds are putting on Kevin Mitchell, moving Lenny Harris on the shortstop side of second base and Barry Larkin way in the hole. Got to try something to stop a hot hitter.
1-1, here it comes. And a shot to center field. Rooms going back, now coming back in. And Mitchell will hold it first as 2 are gone in the inning.
Now this is Candlestick Park. The flags are hardly blowing out there right now. Before the game, it must have been 30-35 miles an hour.
Easy.
But they might pick up here in the next minute. And as a fielder, especially an outfielder, you've got to keep checking the flags because you've got to know what the ball is going to do, especially one hit conceivably over your head.
Mitchell leads at first. Here comes the pitch to Maldonado. Swing and a miss. The 0-1. 1-1.
Really thought Candy had found himself here. He had those couple of good years, but he's really struggling, really pressing. No confidence at all. And here's a guy that in 3 seasons has averaged 18 home runs and 79 RBIs for this Giants ball club.
You'd never know it.
No, you wouldn't. And you know, the Dodgers' claim on Candy was that he couldn't play.
Count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. 2 are gone in the inning. 1-0 San Francisco. We're in the bottom of the 4th. Reds looking to snap a 2-game losing streak. Now, this trip started off splendidly in Los Angeles. Back-to-back shutouts by Jose Rijo and then Tom Browning. However, the bottom has pretty much fallen out ever since. The Reds have lost 4 of 5. Swing and a miss. 2-2. Candy appears to be coming out of a slump. He has 5 hits in his last 14 trips. But hopefully not right now. 2-2. Larkin's way. He's got to hurry. And they get Mitchell at second base in a close play. Deep center field. Butler at the track. He seems to have lost it. It's gone. Home run, Paul O'Neill. Well, he lost it all right. That is, O'Neill lost the pitch from Russell. And Paul O'Neill, this buzz for you.
Paul jumping all over Russell's first delivery here in the 5th inning. 10th home run on the season. Here's the swing. Russell gets the pitch belt high. That's not where Rick Russell is successful. We'll see Butler. He's looking like it is going towards right center field, but you'll actually see that it lands a good 10 feet behind him the other way. I'm not so sure he could have caught it if it was inside the park.
Now, he had me fooled, that's for sure, because that ball, as you mentioned, really had Butler handcuffed. But it goes for a home run, his 44th RBI of the season, and the Reds are even up 1-1. Griffith a fly ball Butler's way in center field. Back in the 2nd inning. A new ball game here at the Stick. 1-1, San Francisco and Cincinnati. Even up 2-2. First out of the inning, Thompson on the wheel. Thompson. He had a streak of 66 consecutive errorless games at second base, and that was snapped with a miscue in the 8th inning in game 2 of that doubleheader back in Cincinnati. The record here in Giants baseball history, 91. Rooms trying to get aboard. Riles a strike to Will Clark to knock him down.
Rooms lays down a nice bunt down the line. You'll see Riles on the dead run, barehanded. But it was the strong throw with that great arm that he has that got Rolando by a step.
Riles splitting time at third base these days with Greg Litton. Riles the better hitter. Litton supposedly the better fielder, although Riles might argue after a play like that. 0-1. Reed trying to go the other way with it. He is behind, no balls and 2 strikes. Should he reach, the inning would continue. For second baseman Lenny Harris. Reed has had a pretty good career against San Francisco pitching, a .327 batter. 1-2.
How about Russell out there, Tom? No long sleeve shirt, the only one in the park, I think.
No kidding. Everybody else has on those underliners. No deal for Big Daddy.
It reminds me of that Bengals offensive line. They don't care what the temperature is. They're not going to wear any long sleeve shirts. Kind of looks like he could be on that offensive line, doesn't he?
Sure does. Clark will take it himself. But the Reds even things up thanks to the long ball by Paul O'Neill. 1-1, middle of the 5th. And colder and colder here at Candlestick. 1-1. Go to the bottom half of the 5th.
I guess if you're a fan here, you want a quick ball game like we're having tonight. Has a football atmosphere all the way here in Candlestick Park. People bringing their blankets, anything they can to keep warm.
Well, of course, these two cities engaged in warfare down in Miami back in January. The Bengals and the 49ers love their football here as well in San Francisco. 1-1 to Terry Kennedy. And it's interesting between the two cities, really. San Francisco is still considered, I guess, a football town. And Cincinnati still a baseball town.
They tell me, Tom, this place rocks like you wouldn't believe when the 49ers take the field here during the NFL season.
1-1 coming. Good looking pitch right there. 1-2.
Their tailgate.
Can't say the same in Cincinnati. 1-2. Up high, even up.
Easy now, easy.
All right. Swing and a miss. Mailer his second strikeout.
I don't think he needed any help from the wind on this one. Man, that thing drops down about 2 feet.
Those are not boos you're hearing for Jose Uribe. It's Uribe. This is such a fine player. And of course, had the tragedy a year ago. His life in the '88 season marked by the death of his wife shortly after she had given birth to a child. Finished third on the club in game-winning RBIs. Lines it towards right field. Foul ball. Say he's been going through a bit of a slump lately. It's a year anniversary of that tragic day in his life, and
always smiling, has a great attitude, and I guess that's what it would take to get out on the field after something like that, Tom.
2 balls and 1 strike. Uribe at 231, grounded into a fielder's choice in the second. 2-2. Uribe went 1 for 4 yesterday with a double. Giants had a 5-game winning streak snapped in that ball game. They were beaten by John Smoltz and the Braves 2-1. That Smoltz kid is something to watch.
They were still talking about the performance that John Smoltz laid on the Giants yesterday afternoon here at the Stick. He said he was throwing 97 still in the 9th inning.
Uribe trying to go the other way, fouls it off. Count still at 3 balls and 2 strikes. The big daddy Rick Rushell on deck. Well, at least he has a jacket on.
Tradition, tradition.
3-2. Left field, Griffey going back, but O'Neill led off the 5th inning in a home run, and we are tied 1-1 in the first game of a big weekend series here in San Francisco. Reds, of course, trying to get back atop the National League West. They trail the front-running Giants by a game and a half. Houston is a game back. Strike 1.
Don't be fooled by Rushell's .090 average this season. He has a history of being able to swing the bat very well. But then why not? He does everything else well.
No kidding. 1-1 pitch. Oh, there went the bat. Straight back about.
Rushell saying, come on, Rick, how can you throw me that nasty breaking ball like that out on the outer half of the plate?
Got a piece, so the count remains at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Rushell a year ago, 19-11. You talk about durability, pitched 245 innings. Only allowed 85 runs. That is getting it done. 1-2. Big hook one more time. 3rd strikeout for Mailer. And a 1-2-3 inning for the first time in this ball game. We're down. The full moon over San Francisco will have some type of positive effect on the Cincinnati bats tonight here in San Francisco. 1-1, 6th inning. Just like yesterday, this game really moving rapidly. Lenny Harris, Rick Mailer, and then back to the top of the order with Chris Sabo. Lenny hit the ball hard, but right at second baseman Robbie Thompson, that resulted in a 4-6-3 double play back in the 3rd. Swings at the first pitch. Who's making the call? Butler, and 1 away. Mention the fact that Mailer is 11-2. He is already off to a good start against Cincinnati this season. He is 2-0 against the Reds, defeated Danny Jackson, and has defeated Thom Browning. Driving to center field, Butler giving chase, going back towards a warning track and cannot get to it. Mailer eases into second base with a double. So the Reds trying to mount something against Russell here in the sixth.
Rick says if my teammates won't help me, I'll do it myself. Russell's going to lay a fastball right on the outer half of the plate. He didn't get it outside enough, and Rick had a great swing at it. Again, Butler really turned the wrong way. Mailer's on his way for two.
Well, Rick leads all Cincinnati pitchers with base hits. He now has 8. And here's Sabo with the opportunity to get the Reds on top for the first time in this ball game. Takes ball high. Sabe struck out looking in the first, hit a ground ball to third in the fourth. And Riles with a fine stab and retires Sabo at first. And down goes Chris. You just hope that knee is okay. He comes up limping. Ernest Riles had made 2 sensational plays.
Some kind of play here by Riles. You'll see the ball bounce high, though, and that's what allows him to make this play. If it stays down, he has trouble. But look how quick he gets up, and that strong arm guns down Chris. And really no reason for Chris to slide there, because all it's going to do is slow him down. The only time you want to slide going into first base is if you see that first baseman leave his feet.
Fly ball left field. Mitchell is there. Makes the catch. So the Reds waste a 1-out double by Rick Mailer. Still 1-1 in the middle of the sixth with his buddy Ernest Riles, thanks to that fine play that may have saved a run.
Pitchers always go to the guy that makes the great play in the inning, and here we see it. That ball has double written all over it. Riles, great play. Had enough presence of mind to straighten up, take his time. Maybe he knew Sabes doesn't run that well at this particular point with that knee injury, and Chris in danger of hurting that knee with that slide.
Top of the order, Brett Butler ricochets off Mailer right to Lenny Harris, and the Reds got a break there. That should have been Brett Butler's third.
The infield grass here at Candlestick Park, very thick. Slows down a lot of balls that would go through the hole. And this is one of them right here. They've even cut it down here recently, Tom, where it used to be a little bit longer, but it still is real thick. And it slows every ground ball down to the point where a lot of base hits get taken away.
Robbie Thompson 0 for 2, hit a ground ball to Larkin in the first and then popped up to Lenny Harris in the third. Good pitch on the outside corner, even up 1 ball and 1 strike. Thompson right behind Will Clark. And the National League lead with runs scored. He has crossed the plate 46 times. His teammate Clark at 47, and right behind that pair is Kevin Mitchell. He's third in the league. Griffey's way, and it will drop for a base hit. San Francisco's third of the game, so we're all even across the board. The Reds 1 hit, or 1 run and 3 hits, likewise for San Francisco. Will Clark. He's 0 for 2, but has driven in a run. And that misses away. Ball 1. Mailer's got to be careful here. Sorry about that.
Will struggled a little bit here in the last week or 10 days. Talking to him before the game, he's concerned about his stride. He says he's striding a little bit too much away from the pitcher, which is causing him to pull off the pitch.
Swing and a miss. 1-1.
That's his checkpoint, his stride. He wants to stride right into the pitcher, maybe.
3 of tonight's players atop the National League in hits. Clark, Mitchell, and Larkin. The 1-1. Inside, 2-1. And it's a very friendly rivalry between Will Clark and Barry Larkin as to who leads in the National League in that batting average department. The two of those guys played on the U.S. Olympic team back in 1984. They were roommates on that Olympic team and have developed a friendship that has been maintained through their very brief major league careers. It's now 3-1. And this spells big, big trouble for Rick Mahler. Even though Clark is in a slump. On 3-1 counts a season ago, this guy hit .565.
Rick looking to keep the ball down. Hasn't found the strike zone with Clark, but he'd still like to get it down in the strike zone and hopefully turn that 6-4-3 double play.
As soon as you get Clark out, then all of a sudden you have to deal with Kevin Mitchell.
I hope Rick doesn't know about that .560 statistic on 3-1.
I don't think he cares. 3-1. And base hit right field. Thompson will move on to third. And the Giants have it going here in the bottom of the sixth. Runners at the corners and only one away. Roger Craig has seen this all year long.
So that Rick knows, hey, if there's a ground ball back to you, you're coming to second base. We're trying for the double play. Something that's not hit right back his way, he's going to check that runner at third base. So again, you have to remind pitchers a lot of time of situations.
First pitch to Kevin Mitchell. Fly ball right field. Thompson showing tag. O'Neill makes the catch. Here comes Thompson to the plate. The throw, and he is safe. Thompson slid right by the tag of Jeff Reed, and the Giants lead it 2-1.
Oh, O'Neill makes a strong throw home to Jeff Reed, but Jeff has to go out and get the ball just a little bit. And in so doing, Thompson makes a great fadeaway slide to get into home plate safely. Thompson coming straight down the line, but we'll see that he bears outside a little bit when Reed comes up the line to get the throw.
Heads up baseball by Will Clark. He advanced on to second base. But now the Reds have elected to intentionally walk Ernest Riles and take their chances with County Maldonado. And Robbie Thompson, that's
for a young kid. And I guess he's still a young kid, but even when he first came on the scene, those were the kind of things that you were so impressed with by Robbie Thompson. Not just his physical tools and what he could do defensively, fielding the ball and hitting, but those little intangibles, and right there, that was one of them. His awareness.
So Clark at second, Ernest Riles at first, and here's Candy Maldonado. Swings, misses, gets away from Reed. Both runners will advance. He did not foul that ball off.
And heads up play by Rick Mahler. So many times in that situation, you might think that it's a foul ball. See the swing, no contact. Bounces off of Jeff, and Jeff can't find it. Here we'll see it. Jeff looks towards the Reds dugout. He doesn't know where it is. Mahler hustling over. Otherwise, Will Clark just keeps coming around third base.
It appears that Jerry Lane got that ball in the foot as well. He is, thanks to that pitch, getting away. The Giants with two in scoring position. Will Clark at third. Ernest Riles moves on to second. 0-1 the count to Maldonado, with San Francisco leading Cincinnati 2-1. We're in the bottom half of the sixth inning. Two are out. And that one, thanks to a fine play from Reed, was saved from getting away. Clark leading at third. The same holds true for Riles at second. The big bad Bender caught the outside corner. 1-2.
Got to make you feel pretty good hitting 190 and the fans are shouting your name, Candy, Candy, in the background. They know this guy can play. They know he can hit. He's struggling. We have great fans here that are loud and get into the game. They've had trouble getting into it tonight because it's been such a pitcher's duel, but get a little offense going and we'll see them getting into it.
Now Mailer steps off the pitching rubber as Maldonado does the same at the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes to count. 2 are gone. The Giants have broken the deadlock here in the bottom half of the 6th. They own a 1-run advantage. 2 on the score. Clark at third. Riles at second. Count even 2-2. Maldonado through the years. Last season would be an exception, but has been very good with runners in scoring position. Let's watch and see what happens. And he apparently feels Rick Mailer is taking too long out there on the mound. This has gone on long enough. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Riles leads at second. Clark leads at third. And now Maldonado again steps out of the batter's box. Get in there and play ball.
A little cat and mouse going on right now.
Two pitch. The count is 4. We do have first base open here.
I really think that Rick would prefer to get Candy Maldonado out here instead of facing the left-handed Terry Kennedy.
The payoff pitch. And it bounces in front of the plate. Ball 4. Giants lead the Reds 2-1. The bases are loaded. Will Clark at third. Ernest Riles at second, and over at first base, Candy Maldonado. Terry Kennedy steps in there. He's 0 for 2. Hit a fly ball to Rolando Rooms back in the second. Struck out swinging in the 5th. Mailer trying to put out the San Francisco Fire. Fouls it off, strike 1. Kennedy has been a much more proficient hitter here at Candlestick Park. 286, and his overall average is only 243, so that tells you he's had all kinds of trouble away from home. Nothing in 1. Try to come inside on him, even up.
That's a strange statistic right there. You wonder how in the world somebody would want to hit or have better success here at Candlestick Park. There you see 355 with runners in scoring position. This is not the man we want to be facing right now.
1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. And Kennedy very displeased with himself. He may have swung at ball 2. In a long inning for Rick Mailer. San Francisco has got 1 against him. They lead 2-1 with the bases loaded. Here comes a 1-2 pitch. Straight up. Larkin making the call and makes the catch. So Mailer does a pretty decent piece of pitching right there to keep the Giants at bay. 2-1 7th inning, and quite frankly, Lenny, we talked about the Reds' bats starting to need some consistency. They're running out of time in this ball game against Rick Russell.
Really haven't mounted a threat yet. Paul O'Neill's home run leading off the 5th inning there, and then just a double by Rick Mailer, and that's been it. Rick Russell, the whole story tonight so far. Rick Mailer battling out of that situation in the 6th, so it's time to get it going here offensively.
Well, they've got the guys to do it coming up. It'll be Barry Larkin followed by Paul O'Neill and then Ken Griffey. Larkin looks at a pitch inside. Ball 1. Barry hitless on the night, but I tell you what, Brett Butler made one whale of a play to rob him of a base hit. And that is a fair ball down the left field line. This should go for extra bases. Larkin on his way to second base, and he will go in there sliding with a leadoff double.
Barry out in front. Gets enough of it, though, to bounce it by Riles down the left field line. Talked about the grass slowing it down the infield. It will also slow it down in the outfield. So it's not everything is a sure double that's hit down that line.
Paul O'Neill hit his 10th home run of the season off Russell back in the 5th inning to get things started. It's been the lone run of the ball game for the Reds. But they're trying to get it going here in the 7th against Russell after a leadoff double by Barry Larkin. 2-0.
Runs are at a premium like tonight. Even though Paul's hitting 4th, he's got to think about getting Lark over to 3rd base right now. But Russell, being the veteran pitcher, you notice he's not giving him anything inside to pull. So this is an interesting confrontation here in the 7th.
2-0 pitch. And this one into shallow center field. Maldonado now coming in from right makes the catch. Larkin will have to hold, and the runner does not get over. Well, you don't want to sound negative, but just these last 3 games that we've had the opportunity to televise, the Reds just continue not to be able to do the things to get runners over and to get the opportunity to score.
And as we get into this season, especially this stretch here against the Western Division, tonight's game is a typical example. The Giants are executing. They're doing the things necessary. As a result, have 2 runs, and the Reds are having a little problem so far.
Let's hope Ken Griffey can get Larkin in from second base. Slow roller towards Thompson, and now you have to get the base hit instead of just a fly ball. 2 down.
Did things a little backwards that time. That's the ground ball you would have liked to have seen with no outs, and then maybe the fly ball, even though it wasn't hit deep, you've got a shot. But certainly the way that fly ball was hit there in shallow right center, Barry could not advance to 3rd base. So it's up to Rolando Rooms now here to get that run home.
Twice Rolando has bounced to Ernest Riles at 3rd. His average is dipped for the season down to 287. He started the night at 294. Larkin at 3rd. And a slash down the right field by Larkin and a double by Rolando Rooms. 2-2 in the middle of the 7th.
This started working out.
Here's Jose Uribe. That is a fair ball. And Uribe is going to go to second. And he is in there. It appeared to hit Eric Gregg. I don't know if it was Gregg, but it certainly hit something down there to slow the ball down.
Let's see indeed if it does hit Eric Gregg. Uribe reaching out, finding it right by Todd Benzinger down the line. And Big Eric just can't get out of the way there. It does hit him. He still makes the call, though.
Now the Giants. Rick Russell trying to lay down the bunt. Fouls it off.
Tell you, Tom, Eric Gregg's one of the best sports around for an umpire. He takes a lot of grief. He's a big, big man. There you see. And he's another guy that always has a smile on his face. But I'll tell you what, he takes a lot of abuse from a lot of players and a lot of managers, and I'm certain a lot of fans as well.
And a throwback. Uribe in diving. He is safe. 0-1 the count.
I don't think he saves very much of that meal money. I think he goes out there.
Oh, you're cold, Lenny. You're cold.
No, like I said, I always had a lot of respect and a lot of I like Eric Gregg a lot. He's from the Philadelphia area, so he'd always try to get home every now and then when I was playing with the Phillies. See a lot of Eric Gregg, even though those umpires, they don't get a chance to come home very much during the season.
0-1. Sabo coming at 3rd, likewise for Benzinger at 1st, and misses the bunt opportunity. It's 0-2, and this is so rare for Rick Russell. As we mentioned, he leads the National League. I've done for you in this type of situation. However, he has missed the first 2.
I look for him to bunt again here, Tom.
That he does, and a foul ball. So Russell out on strikes, trying to lay it down 0-2. I was getting ready to ask you just that. Did you think he'd go again?
Well, Roger Craig, in this situation, he's looking for 1 run here in the bottom of the 7th. Went fair. The Reds say we'll take that. 1 down now with Brett Butler coming up.
Butler's had a good night. He doubled and scored in the 1st. And then singled and was caught stealing in the third. His last at bat, he grounded out to Lenny Harris at second base. 1 out in the inning. Sabo again drawn in on the grass at third base. And Butler trying to slap it the other way. Places it into the crowd at third base side. Strike one. Infield and outfield pretty much straight away for Brett Butler. Uribe at second. He is the go-ahead run for Roger Craig's crew here in the 7th inning. 1 out. Now Butler says hold the phone here for a second. Steps out and wants to step back in. The 1 pitch. Mailer right on the inside corner, 0-2.
Reds got some bullpen action right now. Rob Dibble up. Pete won't hesitate to bring him in, as effective as he's been throwing here over the course of, well, practically the whole season, but especially here in the last month or so. As soon as he's ready, any further trouble, and the officer will be in there, I'm sure.
0-2 pitch to Brett Butler as Uribe leads at second base. And again tries to go the other way, hits it foul. Still 0-2.
We are seeing again, though,
a little bit low. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You have to consider, Tom, that Rick was slated to be the 4th pitcher in that rotation, and for the 4th guy to be have the kind of numbers that he has up there right now, it's really a testimony to what a competitor he is. I think also it shows how difficult it was to pitch for the Atlanta Braves over the last 7 or 8 years.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Brett Butler. Jose Uribe leads at second base. The score is tied. Reds 2, Giants 2, bottom of the 7th inning with 1 gone. Straight up. And Larkin, just beyond the pitching mound, makes the catch. That is a big out.
And that was a good pitch to get Brett Butler out on. Butler looking for something out over the plate, and that's that. The bat head out, couldn't get his arms extended, and just hit a little weak pop up behind the mound.
With 2 gone, here's second baseman Robbie Thompson. Had a base hit and scored his last trip in the 6th inning. Uribe at second base. And yes, indeed, he got a piece of it. 0-1.
Very quickly, Norm Charlton starting to heat up. In case Thompson has a long at bat here and draws a walk or gets on. Will Clark coming up, they may turn to Charlton.
He and Dibble, the best of pals, roommates, have been since minor league ball. 0-1 pitch. And Mailer working the off-speed stuff. 1-1. Left-handed hitter Will Clark on deck, so we'll see what develops. Should Robbie Thompson reach base? Rick Mailer has other thoughts, of course, with a count 1 ball and 1 strike. Jose Uribe at second base. And a drive to left field. Back it goes. 2-run lead for the Giants.
Said that with the exception of Kevin Mitchell, Robbie Thompson's been swinging the bat as well as anybody on this club. He's been so consistent all year. He does have some pop. And how about these fans?
They were trying for the curtain call on Thompson, and there he comes out of the Giants dugout.
Any big play, any big home run here in this park, these fans, they let the players know that they appreciate it.
Thompson's 8th home run of the season. He is certainly on a pace to break his major league career high. Which is 10 home runs. Swing and a miss. Mailer ahead of Clark, 1-2, and you're Rick Mailer. You certainly don't want a Will Clark or a Kevin Mitchell to beat you. But I'm sure he'll be pulling his teeth out knowing that Robbie Thompson may have been the difference. That's the inning. Reds have to play catch up here at the stick against Rick Rushell, and that is indeed a very tough task. They trail 4-2 in the 8th inning. Lenny Harris takes a second pitch. Ball. 2-0 the count. Harris 0 for 2 is grounded into a double play and hit a fly ball to Butler in center field. Now 3-0.
The Giants have ace reliever Craig Lefferts getting ready.
3-0 pitch. And there is a strike on the inside corner. There's Lefferts starting to crank it up down in the bullpen. Harris fouls off the 3-1 pitch. And now the count is full. The Reds have come from behind in 20 of their 36 victories this season. However, there's a difference between when this man is on the mound and many of the other hurlers they have succeeded against from the 7th inning on. 3-2. Towards Thompson. 1 out.
All right, time to bring you up. Burke hit his 10th home run. Bryn Smith, the winner. His record's up to 7-2. Dave Collins stepping up to pinch hit here for Rick Mailer in the top of the 8th inning. Checking the scores further, the Cardinals over the Pirates 6-2. Houston over San Diego 3-0 in the bottom of the 8th. That's not good news. And Atlanta leads the Dodgers 3-1. That one in the bottom of the 5th.
Collins towards Uribe on the outfield grass and to the bottom half of the 8th inning, and a new pitcher on for Pete Rose's ball club.
And the new pitcher is Norm Charlton. Enters the game here in the bottom of the 8th inning, and Norm in his last outing, it was a good one in San Diego. He threw 3 innings. Only gave up 2 hits, struck out 3, didn't give up any runs, and he needed a good outing. He was struggling a little bit before that. On the season, Norm's 2-0 with a 3.52 ERA. This is his 25th appearance. 30 innings. The opposition only hitting .202 against him, so he's doing a good job on the season.
Kevin Mitchell swings at the first pitch, fouls it off, and getting back to the kind of seasons Will Clark and Kevin Mitchell are having, it benefits the ball club in more ways than just the numbers those two guys have posted on the board.
And it really benefits the second hitter, but not Will Clark or Kevin Mitchell. And that was a perfect example right there. Rick knows if he walks Robbie Thompson, Charlton more than likely will be in the game to face Clark. He says, I'm going after this guy. If he hits a home run, well, he beat me. I'm not going to let Clark and Mitchell do it.
It may prove to be the difference in this ball game. The intimidating forces of Clark and Mitchell, and Mailer challenges Thompson, and he deposits one over the left field wall for a 2-run lead.
I only wish in the 1985 playoffs when I was with the Dodgers and Jack Clark hit that memorable home run in Game 6 that maybe we would have pitched to Andy Van Slyke, walked Jack Clark and pitched to the hitter behind him. Same kind of principle there. You know, you don't want Jack Clark to beat you if Andy Van Slyke does it. And this was before Van Slyke became the premier player like he is today.
Swing and a miss, and down goes Kevin Mitchell, so a good start for Norm Charlton.
Won 8-3 in the second game. Yankees leading 3-1. Palmeiras hit his 5th home run for the Rangers. The A's defeated Baltimore in Game 1 tonight, 7-5. Storm Davis the winner. Mark McGwire a home run, and then the second game the Orioles did it, 5-1. So there's a split between the A's and Baltimore. Cleveland shuts out Kansas City 1-0. Blue Jays over Seattle 4-3. There's a ground ball over to Larkin. On to Benzinger, and we've quickly got 2 outs here. Continue. Jack Howell, Chili Davis home runs for the Angels. Milwaukee over Minnesota 8-6. Chuck Prim got the win. Dan Plesac his 16th save. Roger Clemens got a final on that one now. Boston wins 2-0. Clemens throws a 2-hit shutout, strikes out 12. His 21st career shutout on the year.
The rocket continues to soar in Beantown. Well, 2 gone. Here's Maldonado. The count, no balls and 1 strike. And Charlton looking for a 1-2-3 inning. Sabo on to Benzinger, and he gets just that. For Watch Day, thanks to Gatorade.
Giants leading 4-2 here in the top of the ninth. And we've got a new pitcher for San Francisco, Craig Lefferts. He's become the ace of that bullpen for Roger Craig. He's already established a career high with 12 saves on the year, 1-3 and a fine 1.55 ERA. And here's Todd Benzinger to lead it off.
Benzinger takes ball one, and Lenny, I know you have a happy birthday wish to pass along, and we don't want to forget about it.
I sure do. I want to wish a happy birthday to my wife, Karen. She's probably asleep already back in Cincinnati, but anyhow, I wanted to get that in. I've missed so many of her birthdays in the past because of all the travel in baseball, and here's another one, but we'll celebrate when I get home on Monday.
I would be willing to bet that she may be a little disgruntled at you right now, Len, because it's actually 12:30 back in the East.
I blew it. There's no question about it. But hey, she said she's taping all of these games anyway, so it'll be there.
I'd be willing to bet also that she's up right now. 2 balls and 1 strike to Benzinger. Here it comes from Lefferts, and he hits one down the right field line that drops fair and will go for extra bases. Benzinger on his way to second base. Maldonado retrieves a ball in right field, and the Reds trying to get something going off Craig Lefferts here in the ninth.
Todd hitting right-handed against the left-handed throwing Lefferts, goes with the pitch. Lines it for a double down the right field line. Lefferts, fastball, slider, but screwball. His screwball is the most effective pitch.
I want to get back to a point you made earlier about Benzinger and those home runs. It's so ironic, the fact that he hit all those home runs against right-handed pitchers. He's a better left-handed batter. And now in his first trip right-handed, where he struggled most of the season, he lines a base hit. Oh, 0-1 to Barry Larkin. He doubled and scored back in the 7th. Was robbed of a base hit by Brett Butler in the 4th. Benzinger, a leadoff double, stands at second, and Riles is guarding that line over at third base, where Larkin doubled the last time, and Riles is not going to take his chances again here in the 9th inning, up 2.
You don't want Barry to get, you don't want this runner that's a potential tying run to get to second base.
And Larkin loops it down the third base line. Uribe giving chase, and he makes the grab on the run. Good play by the Giant shortstop.
We don't see it right at the beginning, but that's where he makes this play. That plus the standpoint that the wind probably held it up just a little bit. On a 2-0 count there, Tom, I have to wonder if that was the kind of pitch that Barry really wanted to go after. He's got Lefferts in a jam right there. I mean, Lefferts starts off by giving up the double. Behind 2-0. Just helped him out right there by swinging at a pitch that was really a tough pitch to handle.
Well, Lefferts misses outside. Ball 1 to Paul O'Neill. O'Neill 1 for 3. He had a home run back in the 5th inning with nobody on.
There's the Goose down there warming up in the Giants bullpen. Norm Sherry looking on.
1 ball, 1 strike to Paul O'Neill. Probable pitchers for the rest of this series. Tomorrow to be Danny Jackson against youngster Dennis Cook. Eric Davis has now moved into the on-deck circle as O'Neill fouls it off left side. 1-2. And then on Sunday, it'll be right-hander Jose Rijo against left-hander Atlee Hamaker. So amazing when you think about this Giants ball club. A lot of people pick them to finish near the bottom of the Western Division based solely on the fact that their pitching has not been all that strong, or didn't appear to be that strong. It has been brilliant this year.
And look what they've done, Tom. Kelly Downs, one of their ace pitchers of this starting staff, has been down a majority of the year. He's in Phoenix right now trying to recover from shoulder problems. Mike Krukow recently goes on the disabled list. It's really been a 9-10 man output by this pitching staff of the Giants.
O'Neill, a base hit center field. Benzinger being waved around by Jimmy Lett. Here comes a throw from Butler, and he is safe at the plate, so the Reds have cut the margin to 1. Well, now if you're Reds or Craig, do you consider making a move? You've got a right-handed hitter in Eric Davis coming to the plate. Lefferts, a left-hander on the mound. You have a right-hander in Goose Gossage warming up down in the bullpen.
But it's a hard-throwing Goose Gossage, somebody that a hitter like Eric Davis might very well want to hit off of somebody like Gossage than Lefferts, who features that good screwball. This is the decision Craig's making. It appears he's going to make it, as a double switch will take place at this time. And Gossage will be brought into the ball game.
That he will. So the Reds try to tie the ball game. Reds lead by 1. And Eric Davis will give you a whole bunch of it. This bud's for you.
Look at that Reds bench. That's something. That's something, and a kind of a hit that could mean something as we continue on in this road trip.
Rolando Rooms fouls off the first pitch from Gossage. Eric Davis. And boy, does this bring shades of Philadelphia back to mind. An extra inning ball game. Eric stepped up there at the plate and took Steve Bedrosian deep to win that ball game by 1 run. The first pitch from Goose Gossage, and he says bye-ya over the left field wall to put the Reds on top.
First pitch by Gossage, fastball belt high. Eric watching it, but he knew it as soon as he hit it. The only thing that he wanted to do is make sure he didn't have top spin on that one.
Down the right field line, deep in the corner, it'll drop to the seats. So the count on Rolando Rooms at 1 ball and 2 strikes. For Eric Davis, his 12th home run of the season. He and Paul O'Neill with 2 RBIs on the night. Each have 45 runs knocked in. Well, Davis didn't start this ball game, said he was still being bothered by a hamstring. But oh, how he delivers here in the top of the 9th. Fouled straight back. Look out, Lenny. Oh. Just underneath our glass here in the broadcast booth.
Good thing we had the windows closed.
Swing and a miss. Down goes Rolando Rooms. Have made it very unpleasant for Roger Craig here in the 9th inning. Benzinger started it off with a double. A couple of batters later, O'Neill singled him in. And then Eric Davis stepped up there in a pinch hitting mode and deposits a 2-run home run on the first pitch by Goose Gossage. The Reds lead at 5-4.
I think Roger Craig's debating whether he should have taken Rick Russell out there in the 9th inning. Russell certainly in no problems. Didn't appear anyway. And even though he hasn't had any complete games, still a tough man to hit a home run against, as we talked about earlier on in the show.
But you made the point as well, though, switching from Lefferts, that Gossage is the kind of guy that Davis may rather face due to throwing the gas.
Absolutely, but Gossage had been really effective. I mean, hitters were only batting 181 against him coming into the game, but he's only had 5 appearances here in the month of May and early June, and that's not good for any pitcher, especially a reliever.
Look out. Well, didn't get near anybody. Lands in the grass, and that's it. But the Reds come up with 3 big runs in the top half of the 9th. 2 of them off the bat of number 44. When the Reds lead, thanks to the bat of Eric Davis, stepped up there and hit a 2-run home run, which hopefully will make the difference in this ball game. And if it is to make the difference, it lies on the shoulders of Johnny Franco.
Indeed, it's John Franco time. Even though he pitched 3 innings yesterday in San Diego, he's back out there tonight, hopefully to get his 18th save. 2-0 on the year and a 1.17 ERA. Looks like Van Snyder is going to go into left field.
Well, Davis pinch hit for Ken Griffey in that situation, had a left-handed hitter. And then Lefferts, a left-handed pitcher. Craig makes the move after Cincinnati had made the move. They hope their ace lefty will get it done here in the 9th inning to pull the Reds within 1/2 game of first place.
How about before the game asking Johnny if he could pitch today, because 3 innings, that's the maximum for him. He said, yeah, I'll be out there if they need me.
That is remarkable.
And how about that? 56 out of 60. You've got to like your chances here late in the ball game, and you've also got to like what the Reds have done here in Candlestick. We're focusing on Eric Davis a lot because of the big home run, Tom, but Paul O'Neill had a big clutch hit there in that 9th inning off of Lefferts.
Certainly did. There's Snyder out there in left field for Ken Griffey. Actually for Eric Davis when you get right down to it, but Snyder in left, still rooms in center, O'Neill in right. On the infield, Sabo, Larkin, Harris, and Benzinger. Reed behind the plate, and now Johnny Franco on to try and finish things up here in the 9th inning. So here's a pinch hitter for Roger Craig's team. Greg Litton will now step in there for catcher Terry Kennedy. And he takes the first pitch, ball 1. Litton is a pinch hitter this season, 1 for 3. He'll be followed by Jose Uribe, and then a pinch hitter for the pitcher, Goose Gossage. 1-0. Even up 1-1.
Since Litton's recall from Phoenix on June 5th, sitting .318 on the season, 7 for 22 with 1 home run, a couple of doubles, 3 RBIs. Got a big pinch hit single yesterday against the Braves.
And he comes up right now with a lace to left field. Charging hard is Van Snyder. And he made a good play right there to hold Litton to a single, although in this situation he may be trying for that extra base to begin with.
But still talking about that grass out there and how it'll slow the ball down. Either somebody got to Van or he observed it here watching the game. He charges it real well. Keeps Litton aboard. I got to shut up, Tom, every time I say something about the opposition. Seems like it works against the Reds, but Litton's done a good job. Dusty Baker feels like he can hit up here in the big leagues if given the opportunity.
Well, they're certainly going to be trying to move the runner over here, and Jose Uribe, a good man to have at the plate if you're Roger Craig. Franco going to try and keep Litton as close as possible over at first base. Donnell Nixon has now moved into the on-deck circle. Litton at first, nobody out, bottom half of the 9th inning. Cincinnati, thanks to a 3-run 9th, on lead 5-4. Here comes Sabo.
Chris breaking real early there. He's in danger of Uribe catching him out of the corner of his eye and slapping one down the third base line. No need to come in quite that quickly. You can time it with the pitch here.
Here comes Sabo again, and Uribe squares to bunt, takes low, ball 1. Well, you really got to wonder, because if Uribe does indeed see Sabo coming, Larkin, of course, is breaking towards second base. Since Harris is coming to first, all he has to do is make any kind of contact, and it's a base hit.
It'd be a gutsy play by Uribe, but you're right, the whole left side of the infield's open.
1-0 pitch, and he lays down a beaut. Move the runner over. That is San Francisco baseball.
Well, and this is such a great field to bunt on. It's so unlike AstroTurf or any of the other fields, because this grass really slows the ball down. There you see it on turf. That ball goes right to Franco, and he can wheel and turn to second base. But here on this infield at Candlestick, no way. He's got to go and make the play and get the out at first.
Runner at second base, 1 out. Cincinnati leading San Francisco 5-4 in the bottom half of the 9th. Have a pinch hitter for the pitcher Gossage. It's Donnell Nixon. He is 0 for 7 as a pinch hitter so far this season. Franco trying to put the nail in the coffin in game 1 of this Western Division Showdown Series. Swing and a miss. Franco checking in with Reed. Litton leads at second base. The 0-1 coming. Swing and a miss, 0-2.
Everyone on the infield for the Reds alerting each other that, hey, dive for anything. Keep the ball in the infield. Don't let it go through to the outfield so that that runner on second can score. Knock it down any way that you can.
No balls, 2 strikes to Nixon. Franco checks Litton and now steps back off the rubber. He has a good lead out there at second base.
It's not so much the primary lead that's important. It's his secondary lead. As the pitch is coming, how much can he get off of second base so that he can get a good jump, hopefully to score if you're a Giants fan.
Fine play there by Jeff Reed. That was in the dirt, kept the ball in front of him and knocked that baby down. 1-2.
His secondary lead is a good one. He's getting off quite a bit. Lenny Harris could indeed sneak in maybe if they really wanted to try a pickoff move here.
And he's so far that even if the ball were to be hit hard right at somebody, he still may very well score. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Litton at second base. Nixon at the plate. Franco bringing it. And straight up, Lenny Harris calling Benzinger off. 2 down. So the Reds 1 out away from a dramatic victory here in San Francisco. They trailed 4-2 going into the 9th inning. O'Neill an RBI single to bring in Benzinger, and then Eric Davis a pinch hit 2-run home run. And a pretty tough customer at the plate in Brett Butler.
But you like the way it's set up right now with Franco from the left side facing Butler, a left-handed hitter. But you're right, he makes contact. He's got Robbie Thompson waiting in the wings.
2 outs. Litton leads at second base. Butler at the plate. Franco and the Reds on top by 1. And a ground ball second. This should do it. Harris to Benzinger, and the Reds have won game 1 here in San Francisco with a thrilling come-from-behind victory. 5-4 the final. Franco the save, and Eric Davis the 2-run home run in the top half of the 9th. Benzinger, who led off the inning with a double, and then a couple of batters later, Lynn, Eric Davis. But you mentioned the big hit there, Paul O'Neill, to get in Benzinger with a first run to cut the lead to 1.
That set up the situation so that Eric Davis could come off the bench and give manager Pete Rose and everybody here in Reds country that big 2-run homer. Paul getting the hit off of Lefferts, I felt, was the key hit down the stretch there in the 9th inning.
Let's take another look at the Eric Davis home run, and he got every bit of this one.
First pitch fastball by Goose Gossage. And Eric knew it, Gossage knew it. He throws his arms up, and there it sails over the left field fence.
Davis's 10th home run of the season.